So I did a little bit of traveling towards the end of last year. So I like to think I have a fairly good grasp as to what I need when I go traveling in terms of tech. Now, my most recent trip was a 2-week holiday over to Ireland, so this was a longer trip with pretty long flights. So in today's video, I'm going to be taking you through my top 10 pieces of gear that I absolutely bring nearly every time I travel somewhere. Nearly. Almost. Most times I travel, I will bring at least some of these items. So let's get into it. So to get to Ireland from Vancouver, we had to take 2 flights. We had one 5-hour flight from Vancouver to Toronto that had a 2-hour layover, and then we had a 7-hour flight from Toronto to Dublin. Now, when you put those 2 things together, that means I had a lot of time to kill. And that brings us to our first thing. I am not someone who's able to work particularly well on a plane. There's something about those cramped little seats and the tray in front of you. I'm not even a particularly tall guy, but I still struggle to get any work done and to be able to focus and concentrate. So I end up watching a lot of movies and TV shows. And for that reason, my iPad is perfect for that. I have the Series 8, which came out in 2020, and the battery life on it is still excellent. I've been using it to watch shows like The Bear and It's Always Sunny, and because it has a headphone jack, it makes it very convenient because it gives me the option to either use Bluetooth with my iPad or I can plug straight into my headphones. That was so loud out there. What the frick are you people doing with a bus? And a siren. Depending on the length of the flight, I may or may not end up packing 2 sets of headphones. If the flight is over 4 or 5 hours, I'm going to pack an over-the-ear headphone like my Sony XM4s. They are super comfy, have unreal noise cancellation, a super long battery life, and, like I mentioned before, a headphone jack so I can use them to watch the movies on the plane screens too. For flights under 4 hours, I tend to mainly just stick with my Beats Fit Pros. I've had these since they came out in 2021, so they are a little banged up, but I still love them and use them nearly every day. They have the same H1 chip that the AirPods have, so you get a lot of the same functionality, but unfortunately they don't have any wireless charging, and I have had to replace one of the buds already due to the earpiece tearing, which sadly is now happening on the other bud. Other than that, the battery life is still excellent and they're still pretty comfy to wear for extended periods of time. This is an absolute must-have when traveling because I rely on my devices so much. Obviously, I like to use my iPad to watch movies, so I like to keep that topped up, but I also often have my boarding passes and flight info on my phone. Now, the battery bank that I use is the Zengur Super Mini Go. This is a 10,000 mAh battery that has both USB-A and C and is capable of 15 watts of wireless charging. But my favorite thing about it is the design. It's got this very fun early 2000s look, and people have often mistaken it for a camera, which I think is pretty funny. If you're looking for a battery bank in general, I would really recommend one that is over 10,000 mAh so you can get a couple charges out of it. And if you're an iPhone user, then looking for something that has MagSafe has been super convenient because now I don't have to fuss around with cables. And now this is the last thing I use while actually flying. If I have any check bags, I will put an AirTag into every single one of them. And in this trip in particular, it came in very handy because unfortunately our bags didn't make it over to Ireland with us. We were waiting at bag collection and I even took this video here to get a nice shot of them coming out. But after a few minutes, we were told that the last bags were delivered. So I checked my Find My app and lo and behold, they were still in Pearson Airport.
They here? Or are you just looking at them?
I just looked at them.
Thankfully, we did get them back after just a few days, but had they actually been lost, we would have been able to see exactly where they were in Pearson and hopefully would have been able to direct someone towards them so that they'd be able to find them. In Ireland though, our typical days didn't really involve much tech. Most days we just either watch movies or go on little outings like to the Guinness Storehouse or the Avondale Tree Walk. But there were a few pieces of tech that I used nearly every day. Funny enough, this has only joined my must-pack every trip arsenal recently, because every single time I didn't pack a speaker, I just end up regretting it. I've had this for over a year now, and I'm going to be doing a full review of the speaker soon, so if you're interested in that, subscribe to see it. But one of my favorite things about this speaker is the design. You may have seen it, hold on, can you see it here? Oh, there it is. You may have seen it in the background of some of my videos already because I love the color and it makes a really nice kind of background piece. But on top of the lovely design, it also has unreal battery life. The car that we had didn't have Bluetooth, so we ended up using it as the main speaker for a 3-hour road trip from my hometown on the east coast of Ireland to Galway City on the west coast of Ireland. And then on a 90-minute drive down to the Cliffs of Moher, where I experienced the windiest conditions I've ever been in.
This is my castle. It's up here on the Cliffs of Moher. I have no idea why my ancestors abandoned it.
And by the end of the entire trip, it legitimately had 1 notch of battery life missing. I don't know what that equates to. I assume it means like 25%, but considering we used it the whole time we were there, I was really impressed.
So these are an absolute must-have when traveling, no matter where I go. And it doesn't really matter the type of travel adapter that you buy, just as long as it has multiple plug types so you can take it anywhere in the world. The one I have is from a company called Logix, but I don't think I'd recommend this one as the ground prong for the UK plug broke off. So now I have to try jab something into that socket while I plug the adapter in, and I feel like I shouldn't be doing it. I think it's all right that I am, but I feel like I shouldn't. And similarly, it doesn't really matter which power strip you buy either. But for real, these things are super handy when you are traveling because they just allow you to plug nearly all your shit into them at once. And if you're traveling with someone else, you can plug all their shit in too, because chances are they weren't as smart as you and didn't bring the travel adapter and power strip. And of course, I do have some recommendations on what you can use to charge your devices. These have honestly become one of my favorite pieces of tech ever, which I know is kind of boring, but not only are they reasonably small and easy to travel with, they have an insane output. I always travel with this 100-watt charger from Ugreen. I don't even use the standard charger that came with my MacBook anymore because this is able to charge my MacBook, my phone, my iPad, all at the same time. And for longer trips, like the one I just went on, or trips where I have like a bunch of stuff, I'll also pack this 30-watt GaN charger from Anker. This has 2 USB-C ports and is so tiny and so perfect for travel. No matter how many times I go home to see my family, leaving Ireland never gets easier. And if you're as lucky as I am to get on really well with your family and to enjoy spending time with them, then it can really suck. I've been here in Vancouver since February 2020. And obviously a lot has happened since then, but I'm a permanent resident now. I live here full time. And one of the weird things that I've noticed about going back there since like putting down roots here essentially is how hard it is to reconcile with the fact that the place you're from and the place that you grew up in no longer aligns with how you want to live your life or how you see your career progressing. And for me, I mean, that's the reason I moved out here in the first place. But it's like every time I go back, it's affirming that. It's not the same as leaving your small town to go to the big city, because you're not just leaving the place that you grew up in, you're leaving your collective, you're leaving your culture. And as someone who, for other reasons outside of this, as someone who struggles with their Irish identity, it can make going back to Ireland really tough. Because despite the fact that I grew up there for the vast majority of my life, I still feel like an outsider. And I don't really know what I'm trying to say with this whole section. It's just going back home for the holidays always kind of brings up these kinds of thoughts and feelings. And if you can relate in any way, I would really love to hear that. If you've been living abroad for numerous years, I'd love to hear his perspective. Or if you've just moved over and you're struggling with that same kind of thought, you know, let me know. Anyway, this has been quite the divergence. This has been quite the tangent. So if you're still watching, thank you so much. If you have any questions about the tech that I showed off in this video, let me know down below. Any questions about traveling in general with tech or without, let me know. And also check out my LUTs. They are free. They're on my Ko-fi page. And I'll see you in the next one. Slán Lat and goodbye. Those kind of mean the same thing. But anyway.
Kieran, wake up. You're missing the film.
Thanks,
Not
Sister
when you're
Watching.
running again.